Hello lovely viewers, you are most welcome to our channel Poetry Online. In this video, we shall be discussing the detailed analysis of the poem Binsey Poplars by Gerard Manley Hopkins. Kindly subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to get updates on all our new videos. Once again, let us assure you of a very interesting discussion. Get ready for this lesson. Have you ever wondered how the world or the natural environments looked like 50 or 70 years ago? Can you imagine seeing trees everywhere or being surrounded by trees, feeling the fresh breeze from the branches of the trees, or relaxing under the shade provided by a tree? These are rare things to find these days. The only place one can find such a natural environment in the 21st century is probably a forest reserve. If you have ever visited a forest reserve, then you will understand and know the havoc man has done to the world, all in the name of civilization and creativity. A forest reserve looks completely different from our home environment, and the beauty of nature can only be appreciated there. If the natural environment was conserved through strategic plans, do you think people will have to travel long distances just to see a forest reserve and admire the beauty of nature? The answer is certainly no. In today's poem, we are going to discuss the devastating effects of man's actions on the environment. Trees play a major role not only in the ecosystem, but also in the life of man. Trees provide food, shelter, clothing, shade, and medicines. They equally provide man with oxygen, filter the atmosphere, influence rainfall, reduce global warming, among others. In fact, the importance of trees are such that people say when the last tree dies, the human race will come to an end. Therefore, there is a need to find a workable solution to protect and conserve the natural environment. Now, let me ask you a simple question. Where do we get all our books from? Where do we get our food, furniture, and tissues? The answer is simple. We get all these things from trees. Now, have you ever wondered how many trees have been cut down to provide you food, shelter, books, furniture, among others? This is mind-boggling, right? Yes, in the quest of man to satisfy his desires and needs, natural resources are needed in large quantities to feed factories and industries to be able to provide and manufacture marketable products. However, we haven't really taken the time to reflect on the consequences of our actions, especially to the generation yet unborn. Binsey Poplars, from all indications, is a poem which focuses on the reckless destruction of the natural environment through the activities of man, as well as its effects on the current generation and the generation yet unborn. Binsey Poplars is a poem of 24 lines and 2 stanzas. Stanza 1 contains 8 lines of an equal length, and stanza 2, on the other hand, contains 16 lines. The first stanza introduces readers to the bone of contention and establishes the background of the poem. This stanza bemoans the reckless destruction of trees. The second stanza, on the other hand, shifts the focus from the poplars to the effects of man's detrimental actions on nature. This poem is heavily packed with rhyming words, making it more musical. However, the diction of the poet, to a large extent, is a mixture of formal, archaic, and complex words, making it difficult for readers of this generation. This poem is set in the 19th century Britain during the Victorian era. The Victorian era was a period where industrialization had just started evolving. Let's now take a detailed analysis of the lines contained in the poem. My aspens dear, whose airy cages quelled or quenched in leaves the leaping sun, all felled are all felled, of a fresh and following folded rank, not spared, not one that daddled a saddled, shadow that swam or sang, on meadow and river, and wind-wandering weed winding back. The first stanza introduces us to the subject matter. This stanza brings out the mournful voice of the poetic persona as he laments on the felling of poplar trees. The melancholic voice of the speaker is further heightened through his choice of words. Words like "my aspen dear," "felled," and "not spared" invokes a tone of sadness and displeasure in the needless destruction and environmental vandalism of nature by man. The poet equally reflects on the beauty of nature and the benefits man enjoys with the natural environment. The use of the words "my aspens dear" shows the poet's emotional attachment to the subject matter. Aspen is a species of binsey poplars. He equally uses the possessive case "mine" to depict his close connection with the subject matter. The third line of the poem, "quelled" or "quenched" in leaves and leaping sun, makes reference to the benefits of the trees. The sun has been personified as a prisoner of the trees. This line explains the way trees provide shade by preventing the rays of the sun from passing through their leaves and branches. The word "felled" in this poem means brought down or cut down. The repetition of "felled" in this stanza further heightens the melancholy which runs throughout the poem. Despite the countless benefits of trees, the poetic persona tells us that these trees were cut down. Not even a single tree was spared. He moves on to tell us that currently there are no trees to cast their shadow on the riverbank. Also, the use of the word "spared" adds some pain and somber tone to the poem, as it is mostly used with reference to human life or animal life and not the cutting down of trees. The whole of stanza 1 is dedicated to the poplar trees and the loss of these trees as a result of the activities of man. Stanza 2. Oh, if we but knew what we do, when we delve or hew, hack or rack the growing green, since country is so tender to touch, hair being so slender that, like this sleek and seeing ball, but a prick will make no eye at all. Where we, even where we mean to mend hair, we end hair. When we hew or delve, after comers cannot guess the beauty been. 10 or 12, only 10 or 12 strokes of havoc and self. The sweet a special scene, rural scene, a rural scene, sweet a special rural scene. The second stanza focuses rather on the effects of the actions of man on the natural environment. This stanza touches on the repercussions of the actions of man. The stanza seems so universal as it addresses everyone, including the poetic persona himself. He uses the pronoun "we" to refer to people all over the world. He equally bemoans the ignorance of man and his lack of foresight into the effects of his actions. In the quest of man to make the world a better place and to be more creative and innovative, man has forgotten to reflect on the consequences of his actions to the environment. Our poetic speaker also makes reference to the trees, using words closely associated with them. He used words like delve, hew, hack, and rack to reflect on the felling of trees. The poet describes the country as being tender and slender, and later compares it to an eye. Just like a little piercing of an eye could lead to one having no eyes at all, the same applies to the environment. By cutting trees, one does not add anything to the environment or make it better in any way. It only destroys the environment and destabilizes the ecosystem. The speaker goes on to inform us that even when we try to be more innovative and creative, we end up destroying the environment. In so doing, the poet foresees a future where the younger generation cannot guess and fully appreciate the beauty of nature. The cutting and felling of trees robs the generation yet unborn of the opportunity to see, appreciate, and enjoy the beauty of nature. Therefore, this poem is a wake-up call for all nations to realize the grave effects of the damage being done to the environment by cutting down or felling trees. Our poetic speaker equally acknowledges the fact that sometimes these distractions or the cutting down or felling down of trees is done for a good cause, as in providing furniture, books, and other marketable products, but he is still firm on his stance that they contribute to the destruction of the environment. Thanks for watching this video. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video.